Hi AP. Okay, in today's video we're going to talk about melodic transformations. So here I have an original melody, which I'll play for you now. And then underneath that I have the melody transformed. If you look carefully at measures 3 and 4, you see the same exact melody as the original. This melodic transformation is an example of what we call a side slip. A side slip is a chromatic sequence of sorts that returns right away to the original motive. Think of a side slip as the chromatic neighbor tone of sequences. It will sound like a sequence, but it's written chromatically. So I will play for you the side slip. Here is the transformed melody. Here is our original melody again. And if you look carefully at the transformed melody, we're not quite beginning the melody on beat 1. This melodic transformation is called rhythmic displacement. Rhythmic displacement occurs when the repetition of the motive starts on a different point within the measure. So here is the original melody followed by the melody transformed with rhythmic displacement. So here is our original melody again. And now you'll see an example of melodic inversion, another type of transformation. A melodic inversion inverts the motive diatonically, keeping the interval size, but not necessarily the quality. Before I show you the transformed version, take a look at the intervals of the original melody. From note 1 to note 2 is a second going down, which means that the transformed melodic inversion will be a second going up. Look at the 2 eighth notes. We have a third ascending, so our 2 eighth notes in the transformed melody will be a third descending. Let me show you what I mean. Here is an example of a melodic inversion. So I'm going to play for you the original melody and then the transformed melody with the example of a melodic inversion. Here is the melodic inversion. So if you look carefully at all of the notes, the interval size is preserved, but not necessarily the quality. In other words, you may experience a minor third ascending in the original melody, but a major third descending when the melody is inverted. Here we have the original melody again. Now we're going to see an example of what we call mirror inversion. Mirror inversion inverts the motive and preserves the interval size and the quality. So here is what this would look like. And we will listen to the original melody followed by the mirror inversion. So just a quick recap. We have a melodic inversion, which inverts the motive diatonically, where the interval size is the same, but not necessarily the quality. And then we have the mirror inversion, which inverts the motive and preserves both the interval size and the quality. Here we have an original melody again. And now you can see how I've transformed this melody. Let's take a listen. And this happens to be an example of an inversion that we call a contour inversion. We already know that inversion means to flip the motive upside down, but when you see a contour inversion, that's going to invert the shape of the melody. Think contour meaning shape. It inverts the shape of the melody without strict adherence to the intervals used. So let's take a listen to the original melody followed by the transformed melody. And that's what we call a contour inversion. Here we have the original melody again. And now we're going to talk about retrograde, another type of transformation. Retrograde means that the motive's pitches are played in reverse order. We have what's called a melodic retrograde, where only the pitches are reversed, as the original rhythm is kept the same. Here is an example of what a melodic retrograde would look like when compared with this original melody. Notice the last two notes of the original melody are C and D. Those are the first two notes of the transformed melody, because in a melodic retrograde, only the pitches are reversed, and the rhythm is kept the same. So let's play the original followed by the melodic retrograde. Okay, here's the original melody again. And here I've transformed the melody to sound like this. And that is what we call a rhythmic retrograde. In a rhythmic retrograde, both the pitches and the rhythms are played in reverse order, as you can see when you compare the original melody with the transformed melody. I will play for you now the original melody followed directly by the transformed melody, and you'll see that this is an example of a rhythmic retrograde. Let's review what we know of retrograde so far. So we know that retrograde is the motive's pitches are played in reverse order. There are two types of retrograde. For now, there's melodic retrograde, where only the pitches are reversed, as the original rhythm is preserved, which is what we see here. We also know that there is a rhythmic retrograde, where both the pitches and the rhythms are played in reverse order, as is the case here. So here we have the original melody. And then we have the melody transformed. It looks as if I have a rhythmic retrograde here, but I also have an inversion. So what we call this is a retrograde inversion. So after performing either retrograde, in this case a rhythmic retrograde, then I applied an inversion. Typically, it's going to be a melodic diatonic inversion, and that's what you see here. Let's listen to the original, followed by the transformation, which is an example of a retrograde inversion. Now we're going to talk about permutations. Okay, there are two types of permutations, one that deals with different pitches and ones that deal with different rhythms. So different pitches, that is, the original rhythm will remain the same and be preserved, but new pitches are used. And then we have different rhythms, where original pitches are kept the same in order, but a new rhythm is introduced. So let's learn more about permutations. Okay, let's move on and talk a little bit about permutations. So we have two types of permutations. We have different pitches, where the original rhythm is preserved, but new pitches are used. So in other words, it preserves the rhythmic motive. Then there are different rhythmic permutations, where the original pitches are kept the same in order, but new rhythms are introduced. So here is our original melody. And it appears as if we have a melodic permutation here because the rhythm is preserved. And by the way, the last note of the transformation should be a C. So let's listen to the transformed version of this original melody. And I played the C for you. Let's read about this. This is called a melodic shift or cyclical permutation, where we start on a pitch other than the first. Note that the original pitch of the original melody is a C. The melodic transformation of it begins on an E. So we're starting on a different pitch, then we cycle through the pitches in order, returning to the first pitch and continuing on after reaching the final pitch of the motive. And of course, in a melodic shift or cyclical permutation, the original rhythm is kept the same. Let's listen to the original melody, followed by this melodic shift permutation. Okay, let's talk about some more transformations. So here we have the original melody again. And here is the transformation of that melody. This is an example of augmentation. Augmentation increases the rhythmic values and lengthens the motive. Notice we've gone from 2 measures in the original melody to 4 measures in the transformation. There is a specific type of augmentation called strict augmentation. That increases all rhythmic values by the same amount, like 2 times or 3 times. Let's listen to the original melody directly followed by the augmentation. Here's another type of transformation. Let's listen to the original melody again. Here it is transformed. And this happens to be an example of what we call diminution. Diminution is the opposite of augmentation. Diminution decreases the rhythmic values to shorten the motive. Notice we've gone from the original 2 measures down to 1 measure. There is what we call strict diminution, which decreases all rhythmic values by the same amount. Let's listen to the original melody followed by the transformation known as diminution. Here we have the original melody. Let's listen to it. And here is the transformation. And this is what we call truncation. Truncation is the repetition of the motive, but it's left incomplete. Let's listen to the original motive, followed by a truncated version. Here we have the original motive again. And here is the transformation. This transformation is an example of what we call expansion. Expansion repeats the motive, but has new material added to it, typically at the end of the motive, as you can see here. Let me play the original motive for you, followed by the transformation known as expansion. Here we have the original motive again. And here is the transformation. This is an example of modulation. Modulation is the use of a real sequence to modulate more permanently to a new tonality. Let's listen to the original, followed by the transformation. Here is our original melody again. And here is the transformation. This is an example of modal mixture. That is, a repetition of the motive with alterations to the pitches to briefly suggest a new mode or tonality. So what I heard was, in the first two measures of the transformation, a major, and then the last two measures of the transformation was more of a parallel minor. So we've done some modal mixture there. Let's listen to the original followed by the transformation. Here is the original melody again. Here is the transformation. This is an example of thinning. Thinning is the removal of more ornamental elements of the motive in order to simplify it. Let's listen to the original melody followed by thinning. Here is the original motive again. And here is the transformation. This is an example of ornamentation. Ornamentation occurs when we add additional notes and rhythms to a motive while still preserving the elements of the original motive. Let's take a listen to the original, followed by the transformation, which includes ornamentation. Okay, now it's time to play What's That Transformation? So here's the first example. I have an original melody, followed by number 1, number 2, and number 3. Notice number 3 has 2 transformations. What you need to do is try to identify the transformations of number 1, number 2, and both for number 3, based off of the original melody. You should be able to do this by sight alone, although I will play the original melody for you now. You may also play the original melody and number 1, number 2, and number 3 on the piano, if that will help you. Here is the original melody. If you need to, sort through your notes and try to figure out the transformation for number 1, number 2, and both for number 3 now. When you are done, you may turn and talk with other people in the class to figure out if you came up with the same transformation. Please pause this video now. Now it's time to play What's That Transformation? Here is the second example. Note the original melody, followed by number 1, number 2, and number 3, which has 2 transformations. You should be able to do this by sight alone, but I will play the original melody for you now. take a moment to figure out the transformations for number 1, number 2, and both for number 3. Turn and talk with fellow students in the class and come up with an answer for each of them. Please pause this video now. Now it's time to play What's That Transformation with a third example. So note the original melody followed by number 1, number 2, and transformation number 3, which has 2 transformations. You should be able to do this by sight alone, but I will play the original melody for you now. Please take a moment and look for the transformation for number 1, number 2, number 3, which has 2, identify them. And you may turn and talk with students in the class to see if you have the same transformations. Please pause this video now. And now it's time to play our last game of What's That Transformation with our 4th example. Note the original melody, and then we have transformation number 1, number 2, and number 3, which contains 2 transformations. You should be able to do this by sight alone, but here is the original melody heard. Please take a moment to try to identify the transformation for number 1, number 2, and both of them for number 3. Turn and talk with students in the class. See if you came up with the same solutions. Please pause this video now. Okay, college, this concludes today's video on melodic transformations. Please refer to this video at any time if you feel a need to go back and revisit some of these transformations. You are now expected to identify melodic transformations in musical context. You are now also expected to be able to write a motive and provide melodic transformations of a motive that you compose. Have a great day. Thanks for watching.